All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Nest Podcast. I am Cooper Hunt, and my co-host here we have Jake Beckham, and today we're going to talk about our season predictions of each conference and division. So Jake's going to start, and we're going to start with the AFC North here.
So we're starting in the AFC North. So we're going 4-1 when it comes to division predictions each. Obviously, I think we both have the Cleveland Browns coming in fourth of the AFC North. A little bit of a bar there. But yeah, Browns are just completely kind of a mess roster-wise right now. They are projected, their win total is 5.5. I think they could be anywhere from like 3 to 7 wins. I mean, 7 would be surprising, obviously. But there's a universe, I guess. It just depends how much you would actually want to buy into the Cleveland Browns. And, a lot of question marks in a lot of positions. AFC Championship odds, you can get plus 13,000. Super Bowl odds plus 32,000.
Pretty solid.
And to win the division, they're plus 3,300. So by far, projected to finish fourth. So yeah, I got the Browns. I think defensively they're solid. I think they could wreck some offenses just based on the line. I think Carson Schwarzenegger at middle linebacker is really solid. Their secondary is really good. I like Denzel Ward still a lot. Greg Newsome still really good. Grant Delpit at safety is really solid. So I think overall their defense is really good. That's not where the question marks are ever going to be for the Browns in the next few years. It's just on offense. You're coming out with Flacco to start the year with just very limited weapons. I'm not a big Judy guy. They're starting Cedric Tillman and Jamari Thrash. We'll see. The Cleveland offensive line isn't bad. I don't hate it. They got PFF has them as the worst roster in football this year, which I think is
Really?
kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
They got most of their offensive line they were in the 60s PFF grade wise last year. DeJuan Jones at left tackle was in the 40s, which is very rough. So I think that's their biggest concern, offensive line. But overall, I don't think the talent's too bad. I think there's a rough division with a lot of question marks.
Yeah. So I also we had him last and all that. Again, kind of like with the defense, I really like the defense. I do like the secondary too. Myles Garrett, of course, is really, really, really good, and he's going to be their main source of just pass rush for them, and that's going to like hold them in the games. My main concern was just because with their QB situation, they have Flacco. Flacco can he can still ball out and all that. He balled out watching the preseason game. He did really good, but that's also just preseason. But again, I think he can do good. But again, like another team on here, I feel like the QB situation to me is going to be kind of freak me out with it. And I feel like throughout the middle of the season or so, something will happen with it, and there'll be some controversy as well. And especially when you have the two rookies at in the quarterback room for them as well,
And running back room.
and running back.
Like, we don't know what's going to happen with Quinshon Judkins still. It's
Yeah.
assumed he's still going to be on the Browns this upcoming year. But you never know. Dylan Sampson, also a rookie at running back. I think this is kind of a year you try to figure things out. Who you got, who are guys you need to keep on the roster. See what you have at Mason Graham, high pick. Like I said, Carson Schwarzenegger, he's going to be a rookie at linebacker. You see what you got there. I think Quinshon's got to be a little careful if he wants an NFL job because, you're sitting out, you're causing all this drama, and another rookie running back taken way later than you and Dylan Sampson comes and balls out, then he has your job. That's just what it is. I'm assuming DG and Shador will get snaps in the regular season at some point.
Yeah.
It's kind of a disaster. I love Shador. I think I think he could be a really good player in the league. My only gripe with Shador, if I'm going to pick a gripe, is he does take too long in the pocket. When he's standing in the pocket comes around, kind of claps a little bit, he goes further back instead of trying to step up, which I think is a strength of Dylan Gabriel, is to step up in the pocket and make the throw. So we'll see. I think Flacco and the Browns could low-key give the Bengals some trouble week one.
Yeah.
Just because it's a rough defense in Cincy, obviously. And Flacco is just a good enough quarterback to be able to get you in the end zone a few times. Harold Fannin at tight end is probably one of my favorite players on this offense. Rookie out of Bowling Green. I think he's really talented. And if he wasn't behind David Njoku, I would say he could contend for a starting spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the Browns, like, they're one of the teams where they're viewed as pretty bad this year, but they have those spots like on the team that have hope that they can do good in the future. Yeah. So they have flashes, and again, they'll be fun to watch as well. But compared to the other teams in the division, I just don't think they can live up to the hype or live up to their record could be compared to them.
Like I said, I think it's just a year you try to figure out what you got, which is kind of a weird part to be in for Stefanski, this kind of in this setting, because his job is getting hotter as we go along the seasons. I don't think Stefanski's a great coach, but that's what they're going for. Schlesinger is starting over Jerome Baker at linebacker, so they're obviously just trying to see what they have there. And Devin Bush. Not that Devin Bush is a great player, but they have some vets behind the rookies. And I'm really excited to see how Mason Graham helps Myles Garrett on the line. Hopefully, he
Mm-hmm.
can draw some more because Malik Collins and Alex Wright just aren't helping Myles Garrett on the defensive line
Yeah.
because he's just drawing so many double teams because teams just aren't threatened by a Malik Collins.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping that Mason Graham goes out there and proves, you know, his draft pick spot for the Browns and just helps them with that pass rush as a whole. So
Right. And I think one last thing, I think you're gonna have to figure out who to pay. Do you want to give some of these guys big paychecks? Like, does Jerry Judy come out and have a great year, and you're like,
mm-hmm.
okay, that's our guy for upcoming years at receiver.
Yeah.
Jamari Thrash is young. Cedric Tillman's been reliable over the past couple of years for Cleveland. We'll just have to see. I think they'll probably 5.5 win total feels right. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
I can see them winning 4 games. I can see them winning 5 games. I can see them going above it though. I can see them
Mm-hmm.
getting 6 or 7 wins.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And they also had the again with the paying and all that. I completely forgot about it. They had the whole controversy with with Myles Garrett in the
right.
offseason where he wanted to get paid. So and they
They're trying to be careful.
finally paid him, but
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
All right. So my third place team personally is going to be the Steelers.
I
If you
also had the
agree.
Steelers as
Okay,
well.
so we can go into the Steelers here. Again, it's a good roster, I guess. If we're talking rosters, I think the Browns are up there with the Steelers. If we're talking rosters,
Mm-hmm.
I just think that Tomlin is just 10 times the coach Stefanski is.
Yeah.
Steelers coming in with a win total of 8.5 as the line, which is obviously perfect because they're probably always going to get that 9-win season. So I'd probably go over anyway. They're plus 550 to win the division, which is third. But the roster it's kind of lame in my opinion. I don't love the roster. The thing about the defense is you got Darius Slay, you got Jalen Ramsey, you got Deshaun Elliott, you got Juan Thornhill. There's a lot of slow guys in
Mm-hmm.
the secondary, which is obviously a concern. I just think that the Steelers scheme is always going to be fine. Patrick Queen had a bad year last year, a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
The D line is still really solid.
Yeah.
But I think the rest of it, the scheme just makes up for it, so it won't be a big deal. And I want to see if Joey Porter takes a leap. I know he had a little bit of a rough year last year compared to what the expectations were, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that overall, like the Steelers, of course they're better than the Browns, but the defense to me is still solid. The D line, T.J. Watt's still going to wreak havoc on QBs, and they always have to prepare just for him. The corner room again, yeah, it's kind of old, kind of slow with
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey and Slay, and but I also think just because they're the veterans in the room, they can help out, Porter and all that, and that defense as leaders. So I think they can do really good for the defense.
Right.
Offensive side of the ball. They have Aaron Rodgers. They just brought him in. It took forever to get him in there, and Aaron Rodgers was waiting and waiting.
Just an Aaron Rodgers
and
moment.
it's Aaron Rodgers, and we've seen what he did with the Jets and all that. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like I'm just not moved
Yeah.
and all that. Aaron Rodgers, like he's good,
We've seen 2025 Aaron Rodgers.
but it's just like, yeah, and I think that's what's gonna kind of screw them over is because they just decided to put all their hope for the season on offense on Aaron,
Right.
and even a lot of Steelers fans, they also just don't like Aaron because
Yeah.
of what he did and how long he took to
It also
sign
feels
them.
kind of pointless a little bit.
Yeah, it just kind of, and then like running back, they got Jalen Warden. Who's the other running back they have?
Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson and all that. That'll just be interesting to see. Jalen Warden's been there for a bit.
See, Jalen Warren's just going to fill the role of, he's going to be pass catching back. He's not really,
Yeah.
he's going to run the ball, but he's not conditioned to run,
Yeah.
15, 20 times a game, which I have Caleb Johnson on my fantasy team right now just because I think he's being underestimated a little bit. I said this in our previous video, the fantasy one. I think it's a lazy comparison to compare him to Najee. I think he's a lot more explosive than Najee. I think he's a lot more athletic than Najee when it comes to 2025 at least. I think he's just a lot more explosive player than Najee is and will be. So I'm big on Caleb Johnson if he gets his snaps.
Yeah, and they went out and got a receiver, so they got DK. We had to let him go, but we
Right.
got a second out of it, and it's just one of those things. Was like they had DK and they
which I
had
think is worth it, by the way.
yeah, they had Pickens too, but then Pickens got you know
Yeah, he went to Dallas.
went to Dallas and all that. So and Steelers fans were kind of upset about that too because they wanted both of them. But again, I also feel like they would. You always see the
Yeah.
memes about them fighting a corner, 50 yards down the field, while Aaron Rodgers like I don't know tore his ACL in the back. But it's just weird because like I know they have DK. I can't even think like what other
Roman Wilson.
Roman
They're
Wilson.
finally looking to see Roman Wilson, and
Yeah, he got injured last.
Calvin Austin's going to be their slot guy once again.
Yeah,
Scotty Miller and Ben Skoranek kind of rotating in a receiver. Just not big on the receiver room at all.
yeah. I think I just think it went bad. Like I think Aaron Rodgers he low key kind of downgraded a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
in the receiving
Yeah, I'd rather have
area.
Garrett Wilson in this
Garrett
entire receiver
Wilson,
room.
he had Alan Lazard, his former teammate. That
His guy.
yeah, his guy. They actually did. I remember they did pretty good in the Jets, at least with
Yeah.
them
What
two.
I will say is
So
redeeming is the tight end room. I think that will be
yeah,
where a lot goes into.
mm-hmm.
Just because I think I'm not a big DK guy, but teams are probably going to double team him just because they're not worried about Calvin
Mm-hmm.
Austin. They're not worried about Roman Wilson.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that'll lead to probably a lot of two tight end sets with Freiermuth and Johnny
Johnny
Smith.
Smith, yeah,
Johnny is a great receiving tight end. Freiermuth does both. He's good run blocking. He gets open. And the offensive line is definitely an upgrade from New York, at least for Rodgers. So that'll help a little bit. I think they had a lot of young pieces on the offensive line that I think could really flourish this year, if
yeah,
you will. Fatanu was in mid-60s PFF. Broderick Jones wasn't as good as people wanted him to be. But it's a rookie, left tackle last year. That's what you're going to get. Zach Frazier was really good at center last year. Overall, I think the offensive line is going to be better than what he had in New York. I think the offense should be better, I guess. Obviously, I'm not an Arthur Smith guy as a Falcons fan, but it should be an upgrade from
mm-hmm.
last year. Like, I guess. I don't know. I liked
I
the Steelers' offense last year with Fields when they had Fields in there instead of Russ.
yeah, I feel like it might just be the exact same like type of situation because last year they had Russell Wilson and all that, and
Yeah.
then Russell Wilson didn't do great, and then just kind of like and
Yeah.
Steelers fans got angry about him, and then Fields came in.
But
'Cause he had
it's a rough fan
controversy.
base to try to please
Yeah, and then
historically.
again, there's people that like Will Howard,
Right.
because they just got him and all that. So I feel like there will be some Steelers fans be like, oh, you should bring Will
Which Will
Howard.
Howard's injured right now too,
Yeah,
so like it's
so
not even like I don't know.
he can't really do much, but yeah.
They'll probably reach that 9-win mark.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I just don't want to see the Steelers in the playoffs because you know what you're gonna get. They'll match up with the Chiefs, Ravens, or Bills of the 2 seed, and
Yeah.
they'll get smacked. It's what happens.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. Hopefully, we don't see it. I would go over though for 8.5.
Yeah. I
All
agree.
right. So second in the AFC North, I have the Cincinnati Bengals coming in here. Their win totals at 9.5. Obviously, the offense of the Cincinnati Bengals is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
One of the better receiving rooms in football. One of the better quarterbacks in football. They're starting to get a ground game going with Chase Brown. Obviously, the offensive line is a major issue for the
Mm-hmm.
for the Bengals. But I think it could be improved this year. Orlando Brown hasn't been a great pass blocker in recent memory. A lot of it's just 50s, like PFF grade wise. I don't know. It's what you're going to get out of the Bengals offensive line. It's going to be really rough, but I think it should be a little bit improved. I just worried about the tackles, Orlando Brown and Amarius Mims in pass coverage and pass block.
Yeah. I again, yeah, like you said too, like the Bengals, their offense is always going to be insane. Joe Burrow went crazy last year with them. They got T back for their offense as well. I think of course they're going to score a lot. Chase Brown is always good. Joe Burrow is always good. But my big concern about this division and why they aren't winning it is because of that defense. Their D line got better, and they did bring back Trey Hendrickson, for the D line just to get the pass rush in.
For now, yeah, for now.
For now,
Delaying the inevitable.
Delaying the
probably,
inevitable.
But he's
I
here
think,
this year.
yeah, I think is he a free agent after this year?
Yeah, he's right now. He's on a 1-year, $30 million.
Yeah, so I think he's definitely gonna be leaving them. There's no way he comes back because they took so long this year. I think
Right.
they're just trying to keep him. In my opinion, they should just traded him and just got the value now. But they have him. But then they also finally signed Shamar Stewart, and I just feel like also a lot of players on the team are frustrated with um the owner and like or like the head team, just the
Yeah.
signings and all that, just because all the controversy going on with them. But the D line, of course, is a lot better. So I think that's what they're going to improve on this year, and hopefully Shamar Stewart helps them. Even though he didn't record a sack in college,
Yeah.
I think he will at least help them in their defensive game. Um, but otherwise, I feel like just the safeties and the corners and linebacker room, I feel like it can need improvement, and I think that's what's going to cost them. And I think they're just going to be always down and trying to score and compete with the
Yeah.
offense. So
Yeah, I honestly I don't hate the Bengals pass rush this year. I think interior is rough with BJ Hill still. I think it's not great. They've taken a few swings on edge rushers. They took one on Miles Murphy that just hasn't been going well at all. Joseph Osai still on the team, which he could be seeing early snaps over Shamar Stewart if I had to guess. And then obviously Trey Hendrickson is going to be your main output for pass rush. But like you said, I hope Shamar Stewart can get some pass rush going even his rookie year, just because they need it so badly.
mm-hmm.
Linebacker, they took a swing on Demetrius Knight this year in the draft, um, which they need another linebacker. They got Logan Wilson and Barrett Carter they drafted. I'm a big Barrett Carter guy out of Clemson. I think he could help the linebacker core tremendously, and I think there's a universe where at the end of this year it's an all rookie linebacker room with Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter, and then the secondary, it's rough. Geno Stone, I think, is really good in run help for safety. And the corners, Cam Taylor Britt has been okay. Um, Not really what I thought he was going to be personally in the league so far. Uh, but yeah, then you got other guys that are okay, I guess. Like Jordan Battle's been okay in the league. DJ Turner's been a good corner. I think DJ Turner's been producing heavily. Dax Hill as well has been pretty brutal. But I think there's some bright spots on the defense. Obviously, they need to keep improving through the draft, most likely. But I don't think it's good enough to win the division over what I think is one of the most complete teams in football. But a 9.5 win total feels all right. They're plus 250 to win the division, which isn't bad odds at all. $100 to pay 350. That's not bad at all, value wise, for a team that, in my opinion, will have the MVP this year in Joe Burrow. And I think they'll win enough this year for Joe Burrow to actually get that recognition. Because last year it felt like worst case scenario in Cincinnati, and they still won 10 games, which is completely ridiculous. Usually if everything goes south and a team feels like they're hopeless, they're picking top 5 in the NFL draft, and that's not the case for Cincinnati. They're picking mid-teens and had 10 wins, which is just a very good down year. So I think if things look up, they could win 10 or 11 games for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And up to the number 1 team in the AFC North for both of us is going to be the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens are coming in at minus 160 to win the division, which are very hefty odds to win a division. So much confidence in Vegas in the Ravens to win the division, and rightfully so. I think this is one of the most complete teams in football and one of the better ones in the regular season every single year. They always have a great defense. John Harbaugh always has a great defense no matter what. And then you have, that multiple-time MVP Lamar Jackson
Mm-hmm.
at quarterback. Derrick Henry. You don't need to say anything about Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Brought in DeAndre Hopkins. Zay Flowers is continuing to improve. Rashad Bateman's always been a Ravens guy that's just been kind of not really reliable, but he's just been a guy that's there if you need him. And then tight end, obviously you're losing Likely for a little bit. But you still got Mark Andrews. Mark
Mm-hmm.
Andrews had a little bit of a down year last year due to Likely's production. But Mark Andrews still had a great PFF grade when he was on the field. It was 83, which is just very good for a tight end that was labeled to have a down year. Offensive line, always so. I mean, Tyler Linderbaum might be the best run blocking center in football. This team is always so good in the regular season. I would never bet against them at this current rate to lose a division. But that's not where the threat comes to the Ravens. The threat comes to when they get to the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Whether their guy Lamar is going to perform. Whether they're going to match up with the Chiefs or a Bills. But I like this team to win the division every year. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I just really trust the whole team of both sides of the ball, compared to the others in the division here. Again, Lamar and Henry, they'll just be devastating for defenses this year, and they always will be. I like the receiving room with Flowers, with Bateman. and with Mark Andrews there too, it's just kind of one of those scary offenses to go against because it's either you get passed on by Lamar
Right.
downfield, um, and shifty with like Zay Flowers, or you're gonna get ran on by Lamar or
Yeah.
Henry. So it's one of those things. It's so hard to defend. I really like their defense. Their defense is always great for the Ravens.
And it's probably going to be improved with
And
the
it's,
addition of Jair
yeah,
Alexander.
Jair
They drafted
Alexander.
Malachi Starks out of Georgia at safety, who's going to
Yeah.
start. Mike Green fell to them due to allegations,
Hmm.
uh, but and nothing ever happened of it. So now they got Mike Green, who is a second-round pick, which
Yeah.
I thought was a top 20 player in the draft.
Yeah, I just think Jair and Nate Wiggins like they're gonna is really good for the corner room. Kyle Hamilton's always a dog. Roquan, he's there. He's gonna be just sick
Yeah,
for
this
them as
team is
well.
nasty.
The whole team is just nasty. They got a new kicker that they got a replacement
Tyler Loop.
for Justin
Yeah,
Tucker.
he's basically a Justin Tucker like.
Replacement, and
Yeah,
he's proven that in the preseason too that he can ball
yeah.
out and kick. I just really like this team.
Underrated pass rush too from the inside, and Odafe Owe, very good
Yeah,
edge rusher. Trenton Simpson out of Clemson, a linebacker, very good. Brought in
Nathan Simpson.
Kyle Van Noy. That's a great veteran to have ahead of Mike Green for the time
Mhm.
being. Nate Wiggins, Kyle
Yeah,
Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey. It's just a ridiculous team. When you really step back and look at it, you kind of think to yourself, how has this team not made an appearance in the Super Bowl yet in the
yeah.
past few years? But that's just a hump they have to get over.
Yeah, again, I just really like the this offense. You have your MVP with Burrow this year. I have my MVP. I'm gonna have with Lamar. I just think that
Again,
he's gonna just come back and
yep.
do it. And yeah, I think they're gonna go crazy this year. See, I'm really excited about this team and all that
Yeah.
what they're gonna do.
Again, all the prices on this team are kind of steep. Like minus 160 to win a division is just so steep. But it's the Ravens at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Win total's 11.5, very steep.
Hmm.
But this team is just so good on paper and coaching wise and everything like that I think they'll do it.
Yeah, it's just hard to look at and find like a flaw in the
No,
team
yeah,
and like
it is genuinely
everything.
ridiculous.
Coaching is really good, and they always produce also good coaches that for other teams
Oh, yeah.
come from them. So it's the thing. I have them. Yeah, I have them. Winning about 12 to 13 games this year.
And
as
if you
well,
want
so.
a little bit in a Super Bowl pick, if you want to bet on the Ravens finally getting over that hump, plus 700 to win the Super Bowl.
I like that.
$100
Yeah,
pays $800. I'll take that. I would take that bet on the Ravens just to
yeah.
because that feels like such a long shot, but it's just not with the Ravens because their roster is so talented.
Hmm.
You're just banking on them finally getting over that hump. Now, that being said, they have a brutal schedule. But as long as that's the only reason I would maybe stay away from the win total is because of a brutal schedule. But I think it'll help them in the long term in the playoffs. They got Buffalo week 1, Detroit week 3, Kansas City week 4, Texans Rams before the bye. They're at Minnesota this year. They got Cincy twice, obviously. They're at Green Bay this year. Just a lot of tough stuff on the schedule that end up helping them in the playoffs. But that's probably why I may stay away from the win total if I was betting this. But yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
All right. Next division, we got the NFC, not NFC. Sorry, my bad. AFC East and all that as well. Start off.
Yeah, I'll let you lead this one off.
To start off, I had in last place. I had the Jets this year.
Okay.
So I always think that I think they're gonna end up last and be pretty close between we end up last. I think I don't really just trust the coaching and also just the offense. It always just seems kind of sloppy every year. They did get a new head coach this year from the Lions and from their DC.
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'll help improve their team, but again, it's just kind of one of those things. You have to trust in Fields and hope that he goes out there and he performs and does well. I like Garrett Wilson. I like Brees Hall. I think they're gonna do good.
Right.
And all that as well. It's just kind of one of those things. The defense side of the ball too. It's kind of it's good, but it's also kind of iffy. It's just a team I look at this year in the NFL, and I'm like, I really just don't trust them, and I don't think they're gonna do very great.
Yeah, which the Jets are last in odds to win the division plus 1900.
Yeah.
Personally, for my last place pick, I'm going a different direction, and it's not even in terms of talent.
Okay.
It's because I don't trust Tua to stay healthy all year.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think he should have just hung him up last year. I think the risk is just getting way too high.
Yeah.
And I just don't trust this whole team to stay healthy. I don't want to see what this locker room looks like. I don't trust Mike McDaniel right now either. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's a solid coach and he's got unfortunate, but when Tua goes down, he has nothing in the bag.
You have to work with.
I don't love this defense either. Uh, I again, like I said, I think the locker room has got to be toxic. Tyreek Hill, Darren Waller.
Hmm.
I think we're pushing a place that I don't think an NFL team wants to be at. You know, the Dolphins win total's 8.5. I would completely just go way under that. Just 'cause I don't trust them to stay healthy. I don't trust the locker room. I think they have. Yeah, I'm gonna say I think they probably have the worst left tackle in football, and Patrick Paul, which is just a terrible thing to have for your quarterback that's constantly
Yeah,
getting hit and
being
concussed.
cussed. Yeah.
Austin Jackson at right tackle, I think, is okay, but right tackle, your average right tackle is getting a little bit of leeway because it's not the quarterback's blind side.
Hmm.
With a lefty, it is your blind side. I think you have to have a big right tackle for a lefty, and you just don't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just don't like the Dolphins. I don't trust them to stay healthy, and if they do stay healthy, I still don't think this is a great football team this year. Um,
Hmm.
that being said, they do have some positives on defense. You still got Bradley Chubb. I still like Jordan Brooks. I will not give up on Jordan Brooks. I think he's quite the athlete. And I know he's just fallen out of the light a little bit. Um, the corner room's kind of brutal. Minka's back in Miami at safety. Just as it is what it is. I think this Miami team isn't a great football team. If they do stay healthy, I think they could maybe get in double digits, maybe, but I don't think we'll be able to find that out.
Yeah. I I had them actually, yeah, in my third spot. Because for a lot of the same reasons as well. I do like Achan. I like Reek and I like Waddle. They're always going to do good. But again, Reek had the whole thing in off season as well, where he just
Right.
did not want to be there. And there was one thing too where they told him he was traded, and he was kind of happy about it. And
Yeah.
he
It's just a
wants to be
bad
traded.
look. It's just
So
a horrible
yeah, so it's
look.
an awful look. It just like, and it's kind of diva-ish, and it's just one of those things too. Um, Also, yeah, but what my thing is too is I think that they could be end up being last of half the Jets if Tua gets hurt again. If Tua goes down at any moment this season, they're just screwed because they proved that
Yeah,
they can be
we've seen
elite.
this over and
They can
over.
be elite with Tua. Tyreek can just be really good. Wallace can be good. HN can get the run game going. Like everything can be good and doing that. But as soon as you take out that one piece,
Hmm.
everything just falls apart.
Right.
So yes, I worry for Tua's health, and hopefully he wears a guardian cap going out there, but I don't know if he is or not.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things like it's just worry about Tua. So as soon as Tua goes down, that team is just screwed for the season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My third is the Jets. I I actually kind of like the Jets this year. When it comes to expectations,
mhm.
their win total's 5.5. I would go over that. I think they win probably 6 games. Um, they could always make a push towards a wild card spot. I think Justin Fields is still not a great quarterback. We know this,
Mhm.
but you never know. He can win you games. He can single handedly win you a football game. But the negative of that's always been he can single handedly lose you a football game as well.
Yeah.
But I think the ground attack will be pretty solid. I like their offensive line pretty well. Brees Hall didn't look great coming off the ACL injury last year. So I don't trust Brees Hall. I think this could be a year where Braylon Allen kind of takes over that running back spot, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
But then the offensive line is just a very good part of this team. You got Olu at left tackle who had a solid rookie year. I think he could have a big year this year. They got Mimbu from Mizzou at right tackle, a rookie this year. He had like a 91 PFF grade uh, in college. Elijah Vera Tucker, very good guard. He's been him and John Simpson both at guard
Mhm.
were great PFF grade last year. Tippmann at center is a good center, and if he goes down, you got Josh Myers from Green Bay in New York right now. And I think this is just an offense that'll get you. They'll get you points. Like it's not like they'll get stopped consistently.
Mhm.
Um, Garrett Wilson, obviously receiver, is just a crazy playmaker. Josh Reynolds comes in. They drafted Arian Smith from Georgia, and then obviously Alan Lazard's still there. So receiving core is obviously worrisome.
Yeah.
I think Garrett's going to draw a lot of double teams, but I think the ground game is kind of the bright spot of this team. And then defensively, I think they have some good pieces. Obviously, Quinnen Williams, Will McDonald, I believe had a good solid year last year. Let me check. Um, no, Will McDonald actually had a pretty mid year, so I still believe in Will McDonald at Iowa State though.
Mhm.
Jermaine Johnson had a ridiculous year last year.
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson is just a fantastic edge rusher. The secondary, I'm a little cold on. Tony Adams, the vet, is all right. Andre Cisco's solid. Uh, I think Sauce is pretty overrated as a corner one.
Same.
Sauce draws a lot of high praise that I just don't think he deserves. I
Hmm.
think he's a border top 10 corner and he gets top 3 praise.
Yeah.
But that being said, he's still obviously a great corner one. If he's border top 10, I'm just saying expectation wise, he's not quite that big of a corner. Um, Brandon Stevens and Michael Carter also at corner kind of worries me. But they got some nice rookies. They got Malachi Moore behind Tony Adams. So we could see something. And what I like to always believe is even if this defense, talent wise, isn't super impressive, they hired Aaron Glenn, a defensive guy.
Yeah.
So, that could always help out the defense. Overall, I would take their win total over, and I got them finishing third.
Okay. Yeah. For the second team in the division, I have the Patriots this year. I feel like the Patriots. I feel confident in Drake May this year. I think he's going to break
Mm-hmm.
out even more this year. I like the addition of Diggs, a receiver, a veteran in the receiving room, just helps him out and boosts Drake May even more. I like Travion Henderson a lot this year. I think he's going to step up, being this rookie, and he's going to step up in front of Stevenson at least at some point this year, and he'll be a monster. And again, they always have a solid defense, and
Mm-hmm.
I love the addition of Mike Vrabel at coaching. I feel like he's a great coach, and again, I don't know why he got let go before.
Yeah, he
Uh,
had like a down year or
he had
two after a bunch of playoff years. It's
exactly, and then
ridiculous.
they just instantly got rid of him. I just think that they gave him some young talent and just all these these people players to use that I think they're actually going to be pretty underrated this year, and people are not going to realize how good the Patriots can be this year. So
Yeah. And I've been singing my Patriot praise to you personally.
yeah, you have.
I'm huge on the Patriots. I mean, we can clip this if we want to. I think this team wins 10 games, makes a wild card. I think Drake May going into a sophomore year, I'm a big sophomore year believer.
Hmm.
I think he'll have a big year. Trevion Henderson at running back, like you said, and Ramondre is always still in there a little bit. The receiving group is really underrated, honestly. Stephon Diggs, I like Demario Douglas a lot. Keishon Butte
Hmm.
could be a star. I mean, if we're really being honest here, Kyle Williams, the receiver they drafted out of Washington State, has been really good in camp. I've heard that could be a breakout candidate at receiver. Mac Hollins coming off a cool year in Buffalo at receiver. And then they have two rookies starting on the line. Will Campbell, I think, is just a great football
Yeah.
player to have, just a Mike Vrabel guy. I think it's just a really solid football player.
Hmm.
Their win totals at 7.5, which I would hammer the over. Like, I think worst case is probably 7-10, maybe 8-9. So if that's the worst case, I would hammer the over.
Yeah.
And the O line is it's solid. Defensively, I think Vrabel's gonna have a very positive effect on this defense. I'm a little upset that Jabril Peppers is not on the roster anymore. He
Hmm.
actually had a very good year last year, but obviously there was outside stuff that went into that. Um, the defensive line solid. I'm a big Caleb Chase on guy at edge. He hasn't produced. He really hasn't anywhere he's been. But I will not give up on Caleb Chase on being at least a solid edge rusher. And you got Keon White.
Hmm.
My guy Keon White. I think he could be a breakout at some point here. He improved last year from his rookie year. That could be a big thing. Christian Ellis is a linebacker out of Utah. He is a little brother of Falcons middle linebacker Caden Ellis. I think Christian Ellis is a good player. Harold Landry from Tennessee, good player. Carlton Davis at corner, good player. I think they have a lot of guys. Jalen Hawkins at safety is underrated. Marcus Jones underrated at nickelback. And Christian Gonzalez at corner is a star.
Hmm.
I think this team is very good. I would hammer the over on this team. And since it's so steep on the Bills are minus 285 to win the division. I would sprinkle maybe on the Patriots win the division at plus 550 if you want a value play. Obviously, I think the Bills will win the division, but you never know. If something happens, like if a Josh Allen were to go down or if they lose a playmaker, the Patriots are just there. Like they could sneak in. But yeah, I'm huge on the Patriots, and I got them finishing second as well.
Yeah. If I were to describe the Patriots in one word, I would just say that they're underrated
Very underrated.
as a whole.
The first word that popped in my head when you said that was grit.
Grit.
I think this is a gritty team now.
Yeah.
This is
I
just
I
Mike
like him a
Vrabel brings
lot.
some grit to the team, and Will Campbell brings some grit to the team. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
The Bills,
Hmm.
I think it's just the Bills. I mean, there's not really much to say.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's an MVP type player. Not even type player. I don't know why I said type player. Josh Allen's a former
MVP.
NFL MVP. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Uh, their win total's 11.5. I wouldn't touch that, honestly. It feels right. 11, 12, 13 wins, probably the range. James Cook just became the highest paid guaranteed money running back in the league. Um, I like Ray Davis behind him too. The receiving core, they need someone desperately to break out this year.
Yeah.
Whether it's Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer's a good accusation from the Chargers. I've been a Josh Palmer guy since his days at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good player. But you still got some like Curtis Samuel. He's a rotational player. I was kind of big on him coming into Buffalo a little bit last year, and he didn't really get a role in the offense that much. Khalil Shakir is obviously the popular pick to be the breakout, or Keon Coleman. If one of those, Keon Coleman specifically was such a hyped up player out of college, and he had an okay rookie year last year. If he could have a big year this year and give Josh Allen somebody to really look towards, other than that great tight end duo in Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, I think that would help him a lot.
Yeah, I was saying I think the Bills, like, they're like, winning this division as a whole. But I view them kind of as a weird way of, I view them as like the Robin to Batman with the Chiefs
Right.
type of deal. You kind of look
Which
at
they'll beat him in the regular season.
yeah, the being in the regular season type of deal, but like at the end, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. I just look at both rosters, and to me, they just seem kind of similar. They both have like insanely like really good QBs.
Right.
With these, like, I wouldn't say like average, but like kind of receiving rooms where they need
Yeah.
someone to break out, or they need someone
Right.
to be there on game day, and all that. So it just kind of feels like that. They both have good defenses. I think the Chiefs, of course, have a better defense.
Right.
But I just seem kind of like that. But with the Bills, though, it's just Josh Allen. Josh Allen's gonna win you these games. He has the playmaking ability and being able
Yeah.
to run and throw the ball deep downfield and run over defenders. It's scary as a defense to go against that.
Yeah.
And just comparing to the other other opponents in this division, I just think it won't.
They're still a few steps ahead.
But they're just a few steps ahead with Josh Allen.
New England's building something pretty special, I think.
Yeah.
But they're still a good amount behind the Bills just because of how good the Bills are.
Mm-hmm.
My only big complaint about the Bills is, quite honestly, their head coach. I'm not a McDermott guy at all.
The coaching
when the lights get bright, McDermott's just getting out coached, which obviously everyone's getting out coached by Andy Reid for the most part.
It's Andy Reid.
But he's getting out coached by those guys. He got out coached by Zach Taylor in Cincinnati that one year, the snow game. I think he's just getting constantly out coached in the playoffs, which is not a good sign. But yeah, Joey Bosa on defense now. They brought back Tre'Davious White, that I heard was having in a corner competition with Maxwell Harrison, the rookie out of Kentucky, which Harrison got hurt. So I think that is on pause, obviously, but that could be something down the road. I don't love the secondary, really. I think they have a great scheme, though. That'll help it out a little bit. But yeah, they should win the AFC East. And the more I think about it, the win total being 11.5 feels good. I think they win 12, 13 games pretty solidly. I don't think the Mahomes-Josh Allen difference is really what keeps them from getting that Kansas City level. I think it's just more Sean McDermott, and they need a Kansas City defense. Because at the end of the day, you see Kansas City getting those big late game stops a lot more than you see Buffalo getting those late game stops.
Yeah, exactly. On to the South here. Having the last team in the division, I have the Titans this year.
Okay.
I think the Titans are going to be solid, and I think they're also kind of fun to watch. They brought in, of course, Cam Ward into this offense, and I think that he'll be a pretty good QB. I will say he is probably one of the least talked about round one, pick
sure.
number one picks in a long time. When Caleb got picked, he was constantly talked about all offseason, and they've talked about him a little bit and all that, but I feel like he'll come out here and he'll show people why he is the number one pick. But compared to other people in the division, I think he could compete with the Colts, who I have as third in the division, so I can kind of flip-flop them and see where they would actually land. But as of now, my prediction, I think that they will be fourth. I think the defense is all right. I like Calvin Ridley on offense for the receiving. They have Tony Pollard at running back. I just think that they'll be decent, and they'll be fun to watch. I just don't think they'll get anything special really done.
Yeah. So the Titans, I also have in my fourth spot. Their win total is set at a number of 5.5, which I think is about right. When it comes to the division, obviously the favorites right now are the Texans, but even then they're plus 110 this year, which is obviously a lot lower than the Bills and the Ravens. Titans are coming in at plus 800 to win the division. And I almost wanted to go Titans over the Colts. I just think I trust the Colts defense a lot more than the Titans defense. The Titans have good pieces. They have L'Jarius Sneed. They have Jeffrey Simmons. They have bright spots for sure.
Mm.
I think when it comes down to it, though, I can see them getting outscored in a lot of more games, and I can see them getting more stops. Um, and yeah, I think their weapons are questionable, like a little bit old, specifically like Tyler Lockett, and I'm still worried about Pollard a little bit. But Pollard looked good coming out the gates last year. Ridley's obviously a big question mark still, but you never know with Cam Ward with a functional quarterback if he could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think Van Jefferson at wide receiver 3 is very questionable. I think like Alec Iomanner coming in as a rookie could make some waves to get into the receiving room. And then the offensive line, I think, still needs to show improvement. I think that's a spot where the Colts also have it over the Titans. Is the Colts' offensive line is just really solid compared to the Titans' offense. It's just really not. Um, but yeah, I think overall, I would just go Colts based on defense and offensive line and things like that. I'm also just not a Brian Callahan guy, really. Um, I don't like what I saw from him. Like the way he reacted to like Will Levis struggling and stuff like that just seemed kind of lame a little bit. It seemed like he didn't have trust in his own guys. If I had to make a bold take, by the way, for the Titans, I would say Gunnar Helm ends up being your starting tight end by the end of the year. The rookie out of Texas compared to Chig Okonkwo. But yeah, we'll see. And then obviously you said you had the Colts in your 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the Colts in my 3. Again, it can be switched and flip-flopped around depending on how good Cam Ward does. But looking at the Colts, it's just kind of the QB situation to me is what's iffy about them. They're starting Daniel Jones right now and having Anthony Richardson as their backup. And I think Anthony Richardson could start at some point through the season if Daniel Jones is bad or
When
not doing great.
when
Um,
he's bad.
when he's bad, if he's going, yeah. But I do think also if they have Jonathan Taylor, he had an all right year type of deal last year. Um, but I think if he steps up, their offense could be great with a good depth wide receiver. Them having Josh Downs, Michael Pittman Jr. Um,
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren now, their new addition for tight end.
Yep.
I think that the offense could step up and be good. It just depends how the QBs play. I think their defense is average, but it also can help get the job done. And I think, yeah, they could be good as well. So
Yeah, I think they should have a lot more. Like they have a higher floor, if you will, than the
mhm.
Titans. Like their
Yeah,
floor is not that low just because they always have a solid run game with a solid offensive line. So even with a Daniel Jones or AR, if you have a really good O line with a really good back, that's solid no matter what. Josh Downs is a good receiver. Pittman Jr. is a good receiver half the year.
half the year.
Um, Alec Pierce isn't bad. He makes big plays every once in a while, and we're still looking for a big season out of Adonai Mitchell. I like AD Mitchell a lot. And then defensively, I actually think it's a really underrated defense, for being honest. Looking for a big year out of Latu. Zaire Franklin's a good backer, sorry. And then Travarius Ward they brought in, which I think is a good pickup. Kenny Moore's back in Indianapolis. Jalen Jones is a good corner. Cam Bynum's a good safety out of Minnesota. I think the defense is really solid. And depending on who was also in this division, I would be a little bit higher maybe. Like I can see this team giving the Texans and the Jags some problems if they can just get half decent quarterback play.
Yeah, I could see them possibly upsetting one of the top 2 teams in the division at least at some point this year.
See,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I when it comes down to it too though, like I wouldn't even view it as an upset so much. Like if the Colts beat the Texans or the Jags, I'd be like, yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense. The other two aren't consistent enough for me to be shocked if the Colts win one of those games.
Hmm.
And I really like Shane Steichen a lot. I think Steichen is unfortunately, he's in like kind of a make or break year this year, um, which I think will end up being really good for him. I think he'll really come out of his shell as a coach, which will show enough for him to hopefully buy another year.
Yeah.
Because I think they're at the end of the day, I still think they're gonna have a losing record this year.
Hmm.
So I hopefully still buys him another year. I think Steichen's good.
Yeah, going into the second place team, you and me both had a switch. I have the Jags at second,
Hmm.
and then the Texans at first. But the Jags to me are actually really scary this year. Again, I have a lot of flip flops, in this division. It's kind of
Right.
hard to predict, who falls where for me. But the Jags they just had a new addition with head coach with Liam Cohen.
Yep.
I think he's gonna bring this offense alive and make them a really true threat. I really like them getting Travis Hunter. You know, I didn't think that they will get Travis Hunter in the draft. Watching it, I thought he was going to go to the Browns, in my
Right.
opinion. So it was really cool to see him go there, and I think Travis Hunter is just going to help that offense also come alive with Brian Thomas Jr. And I think he also helped the defensive side of the ball and show that he can be good. Um, I can see Trav basically just getting offensive play rookie offensive rookie of the year. Sorry, but I think he could just do really good for the team. And the running back situation, they're just gonna have to figure it out type of deal. I don't think ETN is as good as he used to be, but they'll see who can step up and who can play well in the running back role this year.
Yeah. So as you said, I do have the Jags winning the division this year, which is uh, kind of an upset pick. Obviously, they're the second most favored in the division at plus 310, which I love. I just think this team got a lot better. Liam Cohen, I'm a big fan of Liam Cohen. What he did in Tampa, that Tampa offense was always filthy. And the reason I'm not worried about the running back room, obviously I don't love any of these guys for fantasy because I don't know which one it'll be. But with whether it's Etienne, whether it's Bigsby, whether it's Tootin, I think the thing is when Liam Cohen was in Tampa, he made Bucky and Rashad like a two-headed monster a little bit up
Mm-hmm.
until last year, until Bucky really broke through that ceiling and became RB1. But I think one of these three will be good enough for Liam Cohen to work magic with. And then I like T Law to have a big year this year. I think he's due to have a crazy year. The offensive line has to go up with Walker Little and Anton Harrison on the tackle spots. I love Anton Harrison as a biased OU fan. I think Anton Harrison could be an absolute stud at right tackle. And like you said, the receiving room is just super talented. Brian Thomas Jr. with an unbelievable rookie year last year. Travis Hunter is just one of the best athletes in the league already as a rookie. Um, Defensively, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I can see this defense being like a formidable defense, but I can see them being a bad defense at the same time. Um, Trayvon Walker had a sneaky good year last year. Josh Allen's really still a good edge rusher. Eric Armstead and Devon Hamilton in the middle isn't bad. Foye Aluakin, when he's fully healthy, usually leads the lead in tackles. Devin Lloyd's a solid linebacker. The secondary is where I kind of question some things,
Mm-hmm.
but I have enough faith in Tyson Campbell to be solid. And Jordan Lewis just isn't that bad to where I should just mark him out.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I think they'll be good enough to win the division over the Texans, who I have a little bit more concerns with in some weird spots. Um, but yeah, I got the Jags.
Yeah, I have I have the Texans at winning the division. I really like the team. The one thing that really does concern me is the O line and the running back room. What's going on through right now? The O line has not been great with CJ, and they just traded one of their best O linemen to the Commanders, and so it's just like it's so hard to look at that as the offense and see that man Stroud's not going to struggle a little bit, but I do think that Stroud will come out and actually do better than he did last year. I think he's gonna be really special and good for this team. The running back room though is kind of scary because we don't really know what's happened so far with Joe Mixon. They said he's injured and he's out for now, but they won't give an exact
Well,
date.
they said he's gonna be out at least 4 weeks
Yeah,
minimum,
at least four
or six,
weeks.
one of the two. But he's gonna be out for the beginning of the year
It
for sure.
yeah, it just reminds me of the whole McCaffrey situation where like, oh, he's fine, and he's
Right.
we'll just wait, you'll see, and then something happens to him. And they have Nick Chubb for at running back, and it's just one of the things like after the devastating leg injury, it's just one of the things really hard,
Right.
for him to be himself like he used to be on the Browns. But as of now, he's a starter. Then they have Damian Pierce. He had one really good year,
Mm-hmm.
but he's the backup. It's just kind of iffy in the offense. But I do really like the defense side of the ball. Their D line is really nasty. They do have Will Anderson Jr. still. They have Daniil Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the corner room. Derek Stingley Jr. They also have Jalen Petrie. They have CJ Garner Johnson. I really like them on a defense level, and I think they're just really good. And I also like the coaching, there as well. So that's my thoughts on them, and I think they're going to be pretty solid this year.
Yeah, I still think it's a good team. My concerns just kind of come when it comes to the offense getting in a rhythm. Obviously, they have talent on the offense, but last year it just constantly seemed like they couldn't get in a rhythm. Um, Obviously, Nico will be a huge player on offense, but it's just where he gets help from. whether it's Dalton Schultz or Jaden Higgins breakout or Christian Kirk, maybe Jalen Noel at Iowa State. I mean, they got some guys that could possibly help them out a little bit. But at the end of the day, yeah, I don't love the offensive line either. The run game's obviously a big question mark with Joe Mixon out for a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
really like Woody Marks to break out and possibly have a nice pass catching role while Joe Mixon's out because I just don't love Nick Chubb anymore. I don't love Damian Pierce anymore. Agumbawale is not a bad back, but you know what you're going to get there. It's not going to be too much. Like you said, great pass rush, just phenomenal. They got a few linebackers that are solid, but I'm not sure if they're really, a division winning linebacker group.
Mm-hmm.
And then Derek Stingley was, he had a lot of high expectations coming into the league out of LSU. When you're drafted third as a corner, obviously your expectations are so high. And he had a great year last year. Jalen Petrie is a great. Kamari Lassiter was really a good player last year. I think he was 70 plus rated PFF. He was really solid. So overall, I think this team is really good. I kind of just favor. I know we haven't seen Liam Cohen as a head coach yet,
Mm-hmm.
and this might end up being a cold take. I just think Liam Cohen might end up being a better head coach than D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our last division for the AFC. We have the AFC West here, and yeah. So for the last in the division for me has got to be the Raiders. I think you look at this division and it's so stacked, coaching wise too. I just look at the Raiders, man, and I'm like, I just don't think they can compete compared to the other teams here. The Raiders has some new additions this year. With they got Genty. They also got and went and traded for Geno Smith, which as a Seahawks fan, good luck. I think that it'll be interesting to see. It just kind of seems for that scary of a division too, and how prone Geno is to throwing and making some dumb decisions at times. He could just throw a pick and cost him the game against those elite teams.
Right.
I do like their pass rush though. I think Max Crosby is gonna be really really well. They have Christian Wilkins on the D line as well. So I think that'll be good. It's just one of the things where it's just like you just look at the team and you see how compare how they are to the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos. It's not the same whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go. It's either gonna go really unexpectedly well, or it's gonna be a disaster.
Yeah.
I know there's jokes about how good Geno is in indoor stadiums, so we'll see how that translates. I think he plays like 12 or 11 games indoors this year, so maybe that'll help him out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are big on Dante Thornton at receiver, rookie. Jacoby Myers, I think, just has a ceiling for what he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Tucker's all right. I just don't love this receiving room. 2025 Amari Cooper. Jack Betch could be cool out of rookie out of TCU. And then yeah, the offensive line. It's probably a question mark if we had to just say anything, but it was really solid last year, if we're being honest. So we'll see how that translates with Geno back there, because Geno's prone to taking a lot of sacks usually. So we'll see if it's obviously an upgrade over Seattle's offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how that translates. Brock Bowers, Michael May. I think Michael Mayer's still a really good tight end, and he still gets a lot of good roles.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Bowers in the tight end room being the guy. I'm not a big Ashton Genty guy. I haven't been. I think he lacks explosiveness at the top end for the NFL, but obviously I think he could still have a good year. He's a competent back there. Other than Raheem Mostert, I'm not big on. Zamir White obviously just crumbled last year.
Mm-hmm.
And defensively, yeah, obviously got Max Crosby. Other than that, don't love most of them. I think a lot of these guys just aren't good NFL players.
Yeah, I agree.
I like guys. I don't know. It just feels like we're settling. I guess they're not going for anything. Like, just Jermaine Pratt's okay, I guess. Eric Stokes is a really bad corner. Jeremy Chin's really washed at nickelback. Blue Kelly's cool. I think he could be a good player. Darian Porter, the rookie, could end up being a starter at the end of the year. They still got Devin White on the defense. I'm not sure what his role will look like. But overall, I think Pete Carroll could win them some extra games, but not too much.
Yeah, I like how they. I did like the pickup of Pete Carroll. I think he'll help.
Right.
Boost the team as the head coach and all that. But overall, just looking at the team, like they're just like they're just bland. I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah,
explain how I feel about it. It's just kind of like
really unappealing.
unappealing to watch, like unappealing as a team. But maybe they'll prove me wrong.
Which I
So
will say they are plus 2,000 to win the AFC West. So
I mean, I agree. I guess yeah. So I don't know what you have for third. But for third for me, I have the Broncos this year.
Okay.
Um, it's I think they have the third just barely. Like, again, like last year, they were all really close in the division just because how good they are. I just think that I don't know. This year though, I think Bo will do better than he did last year. Even though there were some like scares with him and possibly losing his starting job. What was the Stidham?
Jarrett Stidham.
Jared Stidham.
People are saying if Bo were to
Yeah,
go down, it's possible Stidham could take a job.
yeah. But you look at last year and you see how Bo played and what he can do. I just think that you can't really just give up on him like that.
Yeah.
I feel like
Realistically, they will
he's
not.
shine, to be able to be that type of guy. I do like Sean Payton coaching for them, but I don't think he's a better coach than Jim, in my opinion.
Mm,
That's just my opinion.
mm.
I love the addition of Engram. I think that Sean's going to use him to actually be really, really good on that offense. So I'm excited to see what he does. Broncos, they're one of those teams that always have just a really good defense. I'm excited to see how that goes. They added Hufunga this year. Of course, they have PS2. I think that he's going to do really, really solid for them. Yeah, again, they also have Nick Bonito on the team as well. Dre Greenlaw, they also added as well from the Niners. I just think that they're going to be solid defensive wise. I think Bo's going to have a big year. He has Cortland Sutton as well. With an all right running back room, they just got RJ Harvey, so I don't know how that's gonna work out. But J.K. Dobbins had a solid year last year, so yeah, I think they're gonna do pretty decent. I like them and all that. I just don't like them as much as the Chargers, even though I think they're gonna have similar type of records this year.
Yeah. See, this is where I have the Chargers. I have them at the 3. I just trust the Broncos to be a better team straight up. I disagree. I think Sean Payton's better than Jim Harbaugh at the NFL level. The Chargers secondary concerns me a lot. I still don't think they're finding guys to build the secondary around, and that's why Derwin James' stint has been so long here in LA. Dion Henley at linebacker just could be a huge, huge breakout this year. But after that, I still don't love Khalil Mack and Denzel Perryman as much as guys like Nick Bonito in Denver. And I think the defensive line is just kind of below average. Offensively, I think it'll be a pretty good offense, very good offensive line with Amarion Hampton back there and Najee. Obviously, Justin Herbert's a really good quarterback. I've always preached that I think he's a little overrated. I still love Justin Herbert a lot, but just compared to what he's actually produced in his time in the NFL, I think he's a tad bit overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love their tight ends, but not having an elite tight end is not going to lose you football games. Receiving core, I think, is going to be very solid. Lad McConkey. I don't think Keenan Allen is just going to come in and do really much. I think that's going to be more Trey Harris, the rookie out of Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think overall the Chargers, I think, are weaker than the Broncos in my opinion. I think the Broncos will show that.
Yeah, so yeah, I have the Chargers second in the division. I'm a big Justin Herbert guy. I like him a lot. I think he's great. I'm really, really, really huge on Amari Hampton this year. I think he's, in my opinion, either him or Henderson on the Patriots. I think they're going to be the better running back other than Genty. I don't think Genty's going to do as good as them. Jim Harbaugh's one of those guys who just loves running the ball, and I just think that Amari Hampton is going to come in and actually just be a beast for them. They have Najee. Najee did have the scare with I think there's a firework accident that happened with him where he
Yes.
hurt his eye. So he's been kind of out for a little bit. But I also have Amari Hampton on in fantasy as well, so I'm just a big fan of him, and I do like the receiving. They have Lyle McConkey, Trey Harris. I think he's gonna be great. He's wide receiver 2, it looks like, or no, he's behind there. But Quinn Johnson's there. I don't know if he's gonna make a difference, but they do have Keenan Allen. They brought him in. He's pretty solid. It's just he's kind of old now, but I think he's just more there as like a role model, being there for and being like a veteran to them. Will Dissly, former Seahawk. I think he did all right. It's kind of weird though, him being a starter. But I like their O line. They just lost Rashawn Slater to injury, unfortunately, and I hope he has a good recovery. But I do like Joe Alt a lot that they drafted last year,
Mm-hmm.
and
He had a great rookie year.
great rookie year, and that's why also I like Amari Hampton so much, and I think that he's gonna be used so much just because Jim Harbaugh went out there and drafted Joe Alt. When everyone thought he wasn't gonna
Yeah.
draft him, so I think he's trying to build this run game and open up big things for Ladd McConkey and all of them. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, defense. I like Derwin James. I think Khalil Mack's also always great. But yeah, there is some holes I would say on defense that they probably need to improve. But overall, as a team, I like them a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, second I got the Broncos. I'm a big fan of the Broncos. The more I looked into it, the more I just sold myself on the Broncos being a really good football team this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bo's gonna have another great year. I think he was really solid. He's not really getting enough credit just because people are making him seem like he was a system quarterback for some reason. Which everyone's a system quarterback in a way. He's just playing his
Yeah.
role. The running back room, I'm excited to see what RJ Harvey does, I guess. And I think J.K. Dobbins is a good back. He's reliable if he can stay healthy. Evan Ingram's a good tight end. I think just kind of the ceiling on Evan Ingram. But Denver's not one of those teams that loses their tight end a lot. So I'm excited to see since they have a good tight end now, if they'll slot him into a big role. I think the offensive line's really good. Garrett Bowles at left tackle, Mike McGlinchey at right tackle, and everything in between is really solid.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see a big year from my guy Marvin Mims. I'm worried about other people. I love Marvin Mims, but other than Cortland Sutton, someone needs to step up, which I think would
Yeah.
be Marvin Mims. But coming into the year, I can see where everyone would be like, his receiving room's just not that great. Troy Franklin he could have a big year, I guess, if he's a breakout. Pat Bryant, the rookie out of Illinois this year, I know has been a hot breakout candidate for some people, but they need someone to break out other than Cortland Sutton. Defensively, I just absolutely love this defense. I think this defense is filthy, and it's just a defense you do not want to see any week.
Mm-hmm.
Just guys inside are really good, which is funny because usually the great defenses in the league are guys or teams that have just a great front. The Broncos' front is good, but everything better comes behind that. Guys like Dre Greenlaw, like they brought in, Alex Singleton, Nick Benito, he could have won Depoy last year, for being honest. He could win Depoy this year. They have the best corner in the game in Pat Surtain. Hufanga, I'm not huge on, but I think if he could fit his role, it's not going to be a problem. Riley Moss was good. Jade Barron, can't sing his praise enough. The rookie out of Texas. I think he's going to be an absolute star. But yeah, I think this defense is just filthy, and I think the offense is good enough to also win games. I definitely see this team in the playoffs.
Yeah. I have at one, and we both have at one. We have the Chiefs, of course.
Right.
Chiefs are just one of those teams where it's like, you look at a schedule and you're like, man, this is a really tough schedule. But then they always,
But they'll pull them out.
yeah, they
some of those
always
games
pull
out.
something off, and they always, get the win at the end of it. It's just one of those things where it's like, man, if as long as you have Andy Reid and you have Patrick Mahomes, then you're gonna win.
You're going to be in the playoffs.
You're gonna win 10+ games.
Yeah, you're going to be in the playoffs.
You know you're gonna be in the
It's
playoffs.
what happens
You're
when
gonna
you get
compete
there.
for a Super Bowl, and even if you don't win, you're at least there in the playoffs.
Right.
But yeah, I love Mahomes. At the QB, they have Minshew in the back behind him, which I mean he'll be all right. But
he looked pretty terrible
He
preseason.
looked terrible preseason, but he's a veteran type of guy.
We'll see.
Pacheco's gonna be back. I think he's gonna do pretty decent. Their rec room's a little iffy too, but they have a Kareem Hunt.
But it's just such a system. It's so easy to slot guys into.
Yeah, and they have Elijah Mitchell from the Niners as well this year, which I like.
Rashard Smith's back there. The rookie from SMU.
Yeah, and the receiver room too. They have Xavier Worthy, of course, Hollywood Brown, Juju. Rashid just got suspended, and I think it's 6 games, right?
6 games.
6 games.
He'll be back for the important part of the year.
Yeah, he'll be back, and he'll get plugged in there, and he'll win. Win them more games.
Yeah, I think people are forgetting how good Rashi Rice is on the field.
He's really, really solid. They got Travis Kelce and then Noah Gray as well.
I'm a big Noah Gray makes. At least he makes one great play at least once a game. So
yeah, exactly.
That's all you can ask
You'll
for
see
from
him
a back tight end.
One time during the game, you're
For
like
a backup tight end. If he can
Yeah.
make one great play, you got it.
yeah. And then of course I love Creed Humphrey too. I think he's a great center.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the O line, Juwan Taylor, he's always talked about. You don't want, like Jake said.
Yeah.
Um,
You
he's
don't want your guys getting talked about
yeah,
on the
he's
offensive line.
very, very, yeah. He's a lot. Say, but defensive wise, man, dude, the D line is what's so
Beautiful.
scary, man. They have Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, like he's just so good. Nick Bolton is just he's so good at the linebacker as well. I love him. He's really great. Trey McDuffie at corner. Everything about this team it's just great, man.
Yeah, it's just, again, it sucks to be like, glazing a team this crazy,
yeah,
but like you have to. And
yeah.
I've seen a lot of people getting quirky out there saying, "Oh, I'm gonna predict the Chiefs are not gonna be that good. They're not gonna win. They're not gonna do this.
Hmm.
They're gonna be there, bro." Like everyone can psych themselves into thinking the Chiefs will have a down year or something.
Yeah.
Okay, if they have a down year, they'll go in the playoffs still, and they'll still win games in the playoffs.
Yeah, since this episode we're only doing just the AFC, and then
Right.
part two we're gonna do the NFC and all that. We'll give you our insight on who do you think is gonna be in the championship, or who's winning at least and going to the Super Bowl for the AFC.
Right.
In my opinion, it's between two teams in this conference,
Yeah,
and
you could say your AFC one, I guess, if you want to,
my AFC.
or you can wait. I'm about to get. I have a lot of things to glaze about this
Go
team real quick.
okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that real
yeah,
quick.
he does that real quick, and I'll talk about mine.
So again, offense, Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce had a down year last year. Fantasy wise, where'd he fit in? Fifth. He said he's locked in this year. He said last year he filmed Happy Gilmore 2 during the year. Obviously, just a lot of stuff was happening in Kelsey's life. I think this is probably his last year. I think he's gonna go out with one big, just fantastic year, and that'll be this year. Other than Jawan Taylor, this offensive line is just really special. Kingsley at left guard, I'm huge on. Creed, Humphrey, and Trey Smith are both really good players on the inside. Josh Simmons is going to be the rookie at left tackle. I was huge on Josh Simmons coming out of Ohio State. And then a receiver. Again, I'm going to say this. This has been a theme for all these AFC teams. You need a breakout guy before Rashi comes back. Xavier Worthy is a good gadget piece. He can do anything really that you want him to. But you need somebody like Hollywood. Everyone's been waiting on a big Hollywood year for years, and it's not coming. As an Oklahoma guy, I love Hollywood Brown. I just don't think it's ever going to show up. And Juju just knows the system so well, it's going to help. But I think Jalen Royals, that rookie out of Utah State, will be the one to end up in Juju's spot to end the year. Like, I think by the end of the year, I think we're looking at an Xavier Worthy, Rashi Rice, Jalen Royals starting receiving core, which I think would be absolutely filthy. And then heading into the defense, there's just not much to say just because it's so good. Spags is just one of the best DCs in the game. He always has been. He always will be. Karlaftis is a monster. Chris Jones is a monster. Yeah, like you said, Nick Bolton is just a special player at middle linebacker. And then the secondary is really good. Trent McDuffie is one of the better corners in the game. Brian Cook is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the league. Brian Cook's always making plays on defense, and he never really gets like thrown into those safety conversations. But Jalen Watson, he was good last year. Christian Fulton they brought in from LA. I think it's gonna be a good signing. But yeah, this Chiefs team is just really special, and I think we'll be seeing them in the playoffs again. Probably as a 1 or a 2 seed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And they're minus 110 to win the division, by the way, which is pretty good value.
Yeah. Again, just like there's two teams in this conference for me that I just like I love, and I think they're gonna be in the playoffs and have a good chance to win the Super Bowl. I do think it's gonna be either the Chiefs or I think the Ravens, and
Right.
it's gonna be one of those things where it's just, you have to look at it and it's either the Ravens, they show up, Lamar
And
shows
they finally
up
get over the hump.
and they finally get over the hump, or it's gonna be the same old Kansas City Chiefs gonna be in the Super Bowl against whoever's on the NFC side.
Right.
So yeah, I personally have the Ravens being there at least.
Ravens getting over the hump.
Ravens, I think the Ravens this year they finally go over the hump
Okay.
and all that. So and I think that's what's gonna happen. If not, it's gonna be the Chiefs guaranteed.
So yeah, I was gonna go opposite of you there because I definitely didn't want to toss up 2 Ravens on the graphic to win the AFC because I feel like that would be disastrous. I'll just stick with the Chiefs. I think it's just the Kansas City Chiefs. Everything I just said applies here, and I think it's just it's a great ball squad. It's a great franchise. And yeah, we'll see who they're facing in the NFC in our opinions on the next episode. So
Yep. All right, thank you guys for listening. This was the AFC conference predictions and just deep through talk. So we're gonna talk about the NFC and part 2. And yeah, thank you for watching.